Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Hello, listeners. Before we start this episode of our Sister Wives Rewind, we just wanted to let you know that this episode was recorded before the passing of Garrison Brown. And so just to give you some context, if you hear us say something that sounds as if he's still with us, that's the reason why. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
So we're continuing our Sister Wives Rewind. This is Season 6, Episode 8, A Wife Decides. Dun, dun, dun.
Or does she? Or does someone decide for her?
I was going to say, or does someone else decide? And which is so silly, because then why have we been debating this if you've already decided, Kody? I mean, it's insane. It's truly insane.
He's just always trying to look like the good guy.
Yeah. But I guess he finally had to put his foot down. He's like, oh, crap, she's going to go forward with this. Oh, no, I got to stop this now.
Yeah, we can't afford IVF. We just moved into these we have 4 mortgages now.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
It's funny. As I watch these episodes, there's no discussion of how are they paying for this?
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked to see, and maybe I'm blanking out and it's coming up or something, but I would like to see an episode where they're all talking about what it takes for them to now come up with this money every month.
Oh, for the mortgages?
For the mortgages.
Yeah. Well, they were paying rent. So they've already been paying a good chunk of change, but the mortgage is, sure, it's more.
Mm-hmm. And, home ownership, there's always more expenses.
Yeah.
Right? You have to fix things yourself. You have to deal with things yourself. They also don't have backyards. Like, if you want to do anything extra to the house, it's going to cost you money. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be nice, but I guess they don't want to be that transparent.
No.
So it starts off where we learn that it's been 2 or 3 weeks since they've been in their new homes. And Kody points out that, everyone needs to have boundaries. He's already worried about boundaries and what's going to happen now that everyone's close. And they're just talking about like what the kids are up to. Kids built Kids Town in the back of, I think it's Christine's backyard. And the big first thing that they're doing is they're going to burn Kody's duffel bag, the infamous duffel bag, and like the 2 bags that he would take with him every time he left one wife to go to another wife. And of course, we have to hear from everybody about like what the duffel bag represents.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's all like, oh, you see the bag and it's gone and he's gone. And Janelle's like, yeah. Janelle's like, I'm so happy to see that bag gone. But they're saying that how, the bag represented separation.
Separation, yeah.
And one thing I thought was really interesting is Christine says that when she sees the bag, she thinks sleepover.
Like he's not really ever permanently there.
Yeah. Or what is this? Or the fact that maybe he comes so late and leaves so early that he's just here to sleep.
He's just there to sleep, yeah.
And then he's gone. He's absolutely gone. And Savannah's talking about how the bag is really ugly and it brought her daddy pain.
Where did she pick that up from?
I don't know. And so The next scene is where we have, so Mike and Gina, who are these, the designers, the helping the Browns distribute the jewelry through Sister Wife's Closet. They come over because Kody has this idea, and I do wonder if this was the producer's idea, that he wants to design a necklace for each of his wives for Mother's Day. And so, and of course, there's always this talk of panic of what happens. You know, each one has to be really nice. Each one has to represent them. Each one has to be equally wonderful, or someone's going to be upset. So, of course, the first one he thought of and designed is Robyn's.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and hers,
he's all over her energy.
Oh yeah, he's been thinking about hers forever, and now he's sitting there going, "Oh crap, I got to come up with the rest." But hers, she represents a bird, right? They call her Birdie, and then he's talking about how, you know, she's overcome so much, so she's like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah. What is this overcome so much? I mean. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's her narrative. It always has been, like, poor Robyn.
You know, you were a single mom, as so many people are. You had to watch your budget. There wasn't a lot, you know.
Well, I think she was a single mom for like maybe a year, not very long. She was married to that guy for 9 years, I believe. And Dayton was only like 10 or 11 when he came into the Brown family, and then she's been taken care of by the Brown family. I mean,
it was a rough year.
Boo-hoo.
It was a really rough year. And so Meri's he's like, you know, Meri is really loyal. So maybe, I don't know, maybe like a dog. And Mike and Gina are horrified. Mortified.
No.
And Kody realizes the minute the words came out of his mouth, like the word came out of his mouth, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, that's not great. And because Gina's like, no woman wants to be compared to a dog. And so they come up with this idea of like a crown with a heart and, you know, fidelis, which is Latin for loyalty. And then Janelle, you know, Janelle's very earthy and down to earth. And so she's going to be a tree, solid and sturdy. And Christine is air. So he was thinking of the winds of love. That's the word. I was just like, what does that mean? And fairies and things that are ethereal and woo. Ethereal, yes. So, you know, he's very worried about the wives being jealous of the other person's pieces and all of this kind of stuff. I'm like, okay.
Well,
okay, Kody.
That's an indicator of, you know, he has a reason to be afraid.
Yeah.
Because there is comparison and jealousy, and Christine did not like her necklace.
Oh no, we're gonna get to that. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it did create problems. So, but the next stop they have is the Silverton Casino, which is in Las Vegas. And I actually looked up the Silverton Casino because I really wanted to know, like, is this actually in Las Vegas or is it like Henderson or whatever?
Yeah.
So it is Vegas, and it is off, but it's off the Strip. But it's not, I have to say, it looked pretty nice. And you could get a suite there on the weekends for like $500 a night, $600 a night. Because Steve and I recently went to Vegas on, you know, and we went on like a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and we stayed at the Bellagio, and that's pretty much what the Bellagio cost us.
Wow. That seems high.
For just a regular room.
Especially like if it's off the Strip and it's not, you know.
You think that's high for the Silverton?
Yeah.
For a suite, for a 2-bedroom suite.
Well, okay.
Like a regular room is only a couple $100.
Yeah.
But that's what we're dealing with. Like, you remember when we used to go to Vegas a million years ago, right? You could stay on a Monday night for less than $100 because no one was there.
Could stay for $10 or $20 per person a night.
So
easily.
It was nothing. And even the nice hotels on the Strip, it was nothing. So if you stayed on like not so much Sunday, but a Monday night and a Tuesday night. Those were the 2 nights where you could go so cheaply. It's not like that anymore.
No.
It used to be that a Monday or Tuesday is, but it was also dead. Like you would go out on the Strip and you'd be like, oh, this is so nice. No one's here. Nothing's crowded. But when we went for those 2 days, packed I'm like, it's Tuesday in October.
Yeah.
Like, why are you all here? It was crazy. Just crazy. So anyway, I thought it was a pretty good deal. But anyway, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it looks like inside. But so the big thing with this casino is that they have a store there that is willing to carry wholesale the Sister Wives Closet. And you've been hearing from their customers or the audience, like, we need jewelry at a lower price point, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we go into this whole thing of like, how committed is everybody in the Sister Wives Closet? Do they care? Do they not? And, Christine says she's more committed. Janelle's like, well, I just started my real estate, so I don't really see any purpose in this Sister Wives Closet. And of course, the scenes, I like you, Janelle, but like the scenes of you were just you putting a sign out with Mona. Like, Is this really, like, I feel like if they had better footage of you, they would show it. But this is your real estate career? Mona pointing and saying, put the sign there?
Yeah, that was that one day that Kody and Christine and Janelle basically volunteered to help Mona with an open house. And I've never seen Janelle sell real estate since. I don't think she has any listings or...
I feel like if she did, we would hear about it.
Yeah. When, she continues to be so dismissive. Look, I think Sister Wives Closet is a bad idea. Clearly, it was not a successful business. But she's so negative about it to the point that she's just rude. Like, she's rude about it to Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the My Sister Wives Closet, God, I was just watching ahead a couple seasons. God, it goes on for a long time.
Oh, God.
And they get these investors to invest in it. And I mean, they must have lost all their money on that, because I was like, God, they tried so hard for so long with that business. And it was because it was Robyn's baby.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? I don't think their thinking was off, but they because I can imagine if you're on a reality show, the show becomes popular, and you now have this platform. And I get why they would think to themselves, okay, we now have all these fans, all these people that care about us. If we create merchandise in some way, shape, or form, they would want to buy it. Of course they would. But what they didn't get was that people did not want to be not so much associated. I mean, some people didn't want to be associated with Sister Wives at all or polygamy, but that for the average person who's watching the show, that they don't really want to feel like a sister wife. Right. They don't want that feeling.
They're not cosplaying.
Yes, exactly. So they don't want that feeling. So they're not going to seek the jewelry, and the jewelry is very specific to them and Sister Wives. And that's not what someone wants to wear. It's not personal to them. Like, if you're going to have jewelry, you either want to pick something that's pretty basic, like a hoop earring or something, or you want to design something yourself. Right. And so this is so personal for them. And so the minute they went to those expos, they needed to stop. And I think this was Robyn. Not getting it, or Kody indulging her, which is they needed to stop and go, okay, we need to create more basic jewelry, and at a cheaper price point. We need to be creating cookbooks and aprons, t-shirts, price points that are about $20.
Wholesome things.
Yes. Wholesome, family-oriented things that are $20.
Yeah.
And it would have been very different. But they kept leaning into this particular idea.
Yeah.
So, but I know, like, I feel for Robyn in all of this. I mean, she's not my favorite person, but I mean, it's a little bit like, it doesn't help when you've got two people on your team, one person on your team saying, I don't want to be associated with something that's female. Two people on the team who are going in and out and poo-pooing it. And then Meri, who says, I'm dedicated, but I want to go back to school.
Yeah, but she's not really dedicated. She just says it.
Yes. So anyway, so at this casino, one of the big things with the Silverton is that they have this giant tank where mermaids, meaning women, put on mermaid costumes and swim around the ocean. I don't know how they breathe under there.
Yeah, how did they stay underwater for so long?
I don't know.
Are they holding their breath? I mean, they were really under there for a long time.
Yeah, maybe they both practiced it. Maybe it's a real skill. But even still, you have to get up for air
at a certain point. You're going to pass out, if you get some air.
So the gift shop is called Guilt. And immediately,
Perfect name for a store in Las Vegas.
And immediately Robyn is nervous. She's nervous because she's like, ooh, I don't know. Should I feel guilty? I don't know if I should feel guilty. You know, is there something in here that's going to make me feel guilty? And I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is very interesting. Maybe some subconscious, unconscious thing, right? Because if shopping is Robyn's vice, then there's a lot of guilt associated with it. And it was almost this weird thing of like, of anyone, she had an issue with the name. It's like, why does this name, like most people laugh and go, ha ha ha, guilt.
Yeah.
But why are you so triggered by this?
Well, because it's associating guilt and shopping.
Yeah, exactly.
What she's grappling with.
And so we learned from Gina that they're having a really hard time, you know, working with the Browns because, you know, they're having a hard time getting the jewelry in the stores because they are polygamists. So they describe this whole situation where like the middle management super excited about it. They like it. And then they want to do it. And then they run it up the flagpole to the people at the top. And I guess they just don't want to be associated. It just feels too. And I'm sorry, like, I bet you these places are getting pitched constantly. So if you're not going to take a chance on something that feels like, oh.
Yeah, especially, you know, you have to realize that, you know, Las Vegas attracts people from all over the country, you know, and just because Vegas has this reputation as being, you know, Sin City and, you know, partying and this and that a lot of the people who are going there to visit there are, you know, religious people from, you know, the Bible Belt and, you know, so yeah, I mean, and this is 10 years ago or something. So yeah.
And that's why calling it Sister Wives wasn't working. I mean, they should have called it like the Brown family something, or family values or Brown family value. I mean, you know, they needed to get a branding person in. But Guilt, this is very exciting because Guilt's going to be the exclusive place to buy Sister Wives Closets merchandise.
Ooh, exclusive.
It's a destination place.
The gift shop or the casino is destination.
Just the way they no. I think probably Kody said that. Ooh, it's a destination. And I, you know, we see a scene in here really quickly. And just for people that are paying attention and watching this entire season, this comes up a lot where they have Kody put on this pink frilly apron, which is so stupid. I don't know why they're doing that. But like immediately Kody feels like he has to defend his masculinity. And this comes up so many times in this season. Like, why do we need to be doing this? Like,
this is a big part of Cody's life. And it's coming out. He can't help it. You know,
I need to be masculine. I need to be seen as more of a man.
I need to be seen because I think he was growing up. I think he was maybe teased or self-conscious about that because he uses the word effeminate a lot.
Yeah, that seems to it's so scary for him. Yeah.
Well, you remember when he went back to when they went back and met all his high school friends and that one guy who was so mean to him because he became a polygamist. What was his name?
Brian? Was it Brian something? Brian Carver?
I don't remember, but they were all at it was almost like a high school reunion type thing. And then they all said that in high school, everyone thought Kody was gay. And I think he did come off, not that he was gay, but he came off as being effeminate and he probably was teased for that. And then he tried really hard to overcompensate for that. And he's still doing it.
Yeah. He still feels like he needs to do it and prove it to us all.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next section is about Janelle and Janelle's gym journey. And I like you, Janelle, but I'm so sick of this. Like, I got it. You know, I got the journey. I'm happy for you, but this is very boring. And it's this whole thing about how like the scale is not moving. She's getting up. She's working out every day. She's doing all this stuff. But the scale isn't moving. Sean keeps, Sean's very frustrated because Janelle's so fixated on the scale, and she broke her scale a couple weeks ago. So the only time she can step on the scale is at the gym. So I guess they do these weekly weigh-ins, so nothing's moving. But then he measures her and he's like, you've lost 10 inches off your waist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you lose inches before weight. So what are you talking about? But next, Sean wants Janelle to work with a nutritionist, Lisa, the kettlebell bombshell. And so they go through this whole thing about like Janelle talking about, I'm determined to change my lifestyle and this is what I'm going to do. And I'm excited to do this and blah, blah, blah. I get why they keep following this story. It's just, there's not much more to add, but that's typical of the show. I don't know why I'm complaining about this. This is every storyline.
Some of these episodes are just repeating these same old tropes because nothing is happening in their lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, luckily later on, this is actually a good season. We get into some
a lot happens.
Good stuff. We're just have to get through this.
Yeah. Well, listen, last episement was Robyn's purity. I mean, that was a was a doozy of an episode.
That was a doozy. So I guess we have to space those out. Just some filler.
Yes. So now this is the big thing, which is Meri and Kody. They're going to Red Rock Canyon to have a picnic so that she can share what she wants to do. And God, and we see the scene, and we see several of these of Kody running from house to house to house. And we see a whole scene of this in an upcoming episode. Why do you need to run? Why are you running? You can't just walk there.
He's
like the 5 minutes is not, that's going to save you.
He's
so annoying
for the camera because he knows he's being filmed. And so he's going to show off. It's pure performative Kody.
Mm-hmm. So we learn before we even have the discussion, Kody says something to the effect of, I don't want to have any more kids. Now, which isn't necessarily true.
Right. He goes on to have another child.
He wants to have more kids with Robyn.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want to have to go through what they're going to have to go through probably to get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're climbing the rocks. They're getting there. They're getting up to the top of where they're going to talk. And Meri asks Kody, like, how do you feel? And Kody she says to him, how do you feel? This is what bugs me. You already know how you feel, Kody. Mm-hmm. You do in this moment in time. You know how you feel. You've known how you felt for a while. And then he turns to her and he's like, he keeps putting it back on her saying, well, this is really going to affect you more. I mean, hey, I have all these other kids, but like, you're the one that's going to have to carry the baby. You're the one that's going to have to get up with the baby. And I'll certainly help you as much as I can, but I really can't. This is going to be on you. It's going to change your life, blah, blah, blah. And yet, you don't want to have any more kids.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to do this. So anyway, he goes into this whole thing about he doesn't feel it in his gut that this is the right thing to do. And a lot of times there's this, it's a lot of like, the Lord is telling me, or the spiritual feeling that I have is that this isn't the right thing to do, which is, again, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's like, because it doesn't feel right to you. It doesn't feel like the right thing for you to do. Like, okay.
And what the bottom line is? He doesn't want to have a baby with Meri.
No, he doesn't. And he cannot tell her that.
He can't say that. He wants to have another baby with Robyn. They've talked about it already. Mm-hmm. And he doesned want to have competing babies.
Yeah.
He and Meri already, have issues, have had issues. He has no issues with Robyn.
So, no.
Of course, he's going to pick her.
Well, but I also think, and this is the other part that they're not talking about, again, back to the finances, is they cannot afford IVF. It is so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I've had clients who've done the egg withdrawal, and a lot of companies pay for it. A lot of these big tech companies out here in the Bay Area pay for it. It's why a lot of people take these jobs. And that's really nice. But like, people who pay out of pocket, 10, 15 years ago, it was about $10,000 just to get the eggs frozen.
Right.
At the very least.
Now I'm sure if you have multiple attempts, it's got to be between 100 and 200 grand.
Yeah, that's just to retrieve eggs. You've done nothing else. You're just freezing your eggs, like as an insurance policy. That's no IVF. That's no nothing. So again, you just moved into these places. You do not have an extra $50,000, $60,000, $100,000. You just don't. So I don't understand why he can't just say to her, hey, if it happens naturally, which we know it's probably not happening naturally.
Didn't he say that if they were just going to, if it happened, it happened? I thought he said that.
Kind of. I mean, so what happened was that she then says, so she's really taken aback because she's like, oh, okay. She said to him, I was going to tell you that let's go talk to a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Kody was like, no.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it. And he just kept reading it. Right now, it's a no. And she's shocked and really, really sad. And he didn't even want to go back to what they've been doing, which I don't blame him. I mean, a decision has to be made here. But Meri was offering to go to more doctor's appointments and go do more stuff and go look. And,
testing or...
Yeah. And so he tells her, why don't you stew? Let's stew on the no. Let's sit on the no. And if we feel something else, then, maybe we'll go in that direction. But Meri's really sad, and now they have to go talk to Leon about it. And she did say something to the effect of, she really wants to recreate her relationship with Kody. And I said this earlier, which is, I think that one of the reasons why Meri was dragging her heels was that she liked the attention from Kody. She liked they were doing something together. It was about them
going
having a child. Yeah. And it was talking about the two of them together, making a baby, doing all these things. I think she liked it for that part too. But I also think that she thought maybe in the back of her mind, if I can get, if he can get a little more excited and I can get more buy-in from him, maybe I would put my body through this just to keep him close, to feel some sort of connection with him, because he doesn't, he's not connected to her.
No. Sadly, the only one he's connected with is Robyn.
Yes. Psych Legal Pop will be back after these messages. Are you feeling lost or uncertain about your future? It's time to discover the true you. This is Tess Brigham from Psych Legal Pop podcast, and I want to tell you about my book, True You. In True You, I delve into the 6 key issues we all face during our quarter-life crises. From career dilemmas to relationship struggles, this book provides simple tools and techniques to navigate each challenge. True You is your roadmap to personal growth. Even if you're not experiencing a quarter-life crisis, True You will help you get to know yourself on a deeper level. If you're ready to unlock your true potential and create a life you love, pick up your copy of True You today. You can find more information on my website, www.tessbrigham.com, or it's available to purchase at Amazon.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing mountain dew. So give me my good friends, give me a dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
So next... Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, so then they have to go tell Leon who...
No. First, they have to tell Robyn. They tell Leon, I think on their graduation day or something. This happens in a future episode.
Oh, okay.
They don't tell Leon for a couple more episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they have to go tell Robyn. So Robyn goes to Meri's house, and she says to Robyn, we've mutually decided, and I wrote question mark,
Yeah.
that they aren't going to move forward. And then she admits, because Robyn asks her some questions.
Robyn
and then
seems surprised. She's like, really?
Yeah. Well, I bet you anything that Kody was going to Robyn and saying, yeah, I'd like to have more children with Meri. And oh, yeah. I mean, he has to pretend.
Mm-hmm.
He has to seem like a really good guy, a really good father, a really wonderful person to Robyn. So, and then Meri admits that Kody told her no, and that shocked Robyn. She had a real shock look on her face. So I think she was like, oh, okay, that's not what Cody's telling me.
Yeah.
Be interesting if her and Kody together, though Robyn always claims that Kody doesn't talk to her about the other wives. But I do wonder if maybe later she even asked him about it and what his response was to her about it. I don't know.
I have a hard time. I think Robyn was acting. I have a hard time believing that they didn't talk about this beforehand. And he didn't tell Robyn that he was going to tell Meri no. I think he totally talked. Because, later on in these past couple seasons, they talk about what a blabbermouth he is and how he does talk about the wives to each other. So, I'm sure they talked about it and Robyn's just acting surprised. That's my guess.
Yeah. Well, and then Meri gets into this whole thing of, and I think we're seeing sort of the first seed, I think we've seen many seeds, but this I feel like is really the biggest nugget of this moment in time of where we see Meri going in the future. Because she talks about how if it was just her, Leon, and Kody, then she would have this partner that she could go through this process with. They could be empty nesters together. They could build a life together. They could do things together. But now Meri's in the situation where she's now an empty nester, but he isn't.
Right.
And she doesn't know what her place is in the family and doesn't see herself. And she says that she feels really disconnected and she doesn't want to have a child just to feel included in the family, to feel like she has a place.
She should be worth more than just a baby maker.
Yeah.
And she says something to that effect. Like, my worth should not be tied up in how many children I'm able to produce. And, we've talked about this before. I think that's exactly what it is. Kody likes being a father. He likes having all these kids. He likes the adoration. And he does. As soon as Leon leaves, that's when Meri's descent starts to happen. And I really started to feel for her. And then future episodes, when she becomes when it gets closer to Leon graduating, and she gets even more scared and upset. I really, and she just feels lost. Like she has no place in this family, and she's not close to Janelle or Christine. And so it's not like she's really parenting their kids at all. And they're older. That's why she clings on to that
Solomon
bond with Robyn's kids, especially Solomon, who can't talk yet. So,
we don't know how he feels.
I don't like Meri.
Meri's mean.
She's mean.
She has no food at her house and she never lets us play over here.
Yeah.
She's too controlling.
Robyn's other kids seem to like her. But that's not enough, That's not enough.
Not. I mean, and I think that we're fundamentally seeing this problem with the way all of this works is they all talk about how we're all each other's moms, we all parent each other's children.
That's not really true.
And that's not really true. It isn't. And, it isn't true. It's like Meri is like an aunt to these other kids. Her role isn't really as a parent. She's not their discipline. I think she did, but I don't think that, they didn't particularly appreciate it when she disciplined them. But she's not parenting them.
No, the only universal parent is Christine. She's the only one who everyone says, that woman parented me. Not even Janelle. I mean, people like Janelle, but she was not a parental figure to other kids. So, it's not true. And now it's all coming out in the light.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, I really feel for her. And this comes up, I can't wait until we get to, they go to polygamous family counseling in Sedona because I have a lot to say about this. But a lot of this stuff comes up there with Meri about feeling disconnected, feeling like she doesn't really have a place. And one of the things that the therapist says to Kody, and he does not get, is the fact that, right, it would do wonders if Kody could just empathize with Meri or say to Meri, you know what, I recognize that you're going to be an empty nester and I'm not. And what is that like? How do you feel? What can I do to make you feel like you're getting the support from me that you need?
Right.
So
like
maybe
you're still part of the family.
Yeah. So if he's technically is in a marriage with all of these women, then just because you're not going through what one of your partners is going through doesn't mean that you just then dismiss it. And that's what he does. It's like, if it's not immediately in front of his face and if it doesn't particularly pertain to him, he can't see beyond it. And that's really hard. So this is the last thing that Kody says that made no sense to me. I was really trying to understand what he was talking about. He starts to get into this thing about, you know, the great thing about being human is that you can change your mind, especially women. He goes into this whole thing about how women always are changing their minds. And then he says something to the effect of, but you know, sometimes you just have to say, hey, I like it that way.
I think he's trying to justify his change of mind because prior to this, he was the one who was pushing the IVF or fertility treatments, and Meri was resisting. And then he flipped the script, and now he's trying to justify that and say it's his right to change his mind, basically.
Oh, okay. I thought he was referring to like in the future, Meri changing her mind, or we have the right to change our mind in the future. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like, you're on borrowed time already. Like, what do you mean change your mind in the future? Like, Meri can't do that. Like,
yeah,
it's now or never. It should have been a couple years ago, but it's now or never. But I think you're right, which is, if you go back to the original season where Kody is, they go to Lakai and he's talking to her about having more kids, or they go to Mexico and they're talking about more kids, right? He's very much for it. But what has been so interesting is that was when Robyn was just coming into the family. Like, it's been very interesting to see in the last couple years with Robyn coming into the family, fame, money, all these other things, how these things have changed. But he just makes up these weird ideas. I don't know, these esoteric ideas about, well, the great thing about life is you can change your mind, you can do this and that. It's just like, I don't think that's what's motivating you.
No.
So,
sometimes he just talks to talk.
Yeah, he just talks.
Doesn't mean anything.
So yeah, and the last thing that Meri said was, what value am I to the family? And that was it. Wow.
Ending on a downer.
I know. Poor Meri. And also, Meri, did we talk about this before, that Meri and her boyfriend broke up?
I don't think we talked about it, but yeah they were dating for 4 months, I think. Which, at least, because, I don't know what this guy thought was going to happen when he came public, but all this stuff was coming out about him. And, good for Meri if there was all these red flags and she was like, I don't know who broke up with who, but she didn't seem that broken up about it when she announced it. And maybe he was just a real,
stopgap
creep. Yeah.
Or maybe she was just kind of like, he's cute, he's paying attention to me.
Yeah.
I like him. Maybe I need to show the world that I'm okay. Everyone thinks I'm so sad and lonely. Let me show this guy and he's okay. But she already had some red flags about him. So she was like, I don't know how long this is going to last.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, she just needed to break the ice, she needed to just be with somebody.
Yeah.
And, get back on the wagon and yeah, if there was all these red flags, I mean, good for her for moving on.
Yeah.
She learned something through
Let's hope.
those
Let's hope.
30-something years. She stayed with Kody.
And then she's really getting into this worthy up. So I think she is either doing retreats with it or something. And then you sent me that thing, I never commented on it, about how Janelle now is a life coach.
Oh, yes. She has a whole website where, yeah, she's a life coach.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Interesting. Okay. And you got certified where? And you have what training? Because you've lived a life? I mean,
Yeah.
Janelle, we see you on TV. Your life isn't like...
It's not aspirational.
Yeah, I think
exactly.
I would take more advice from Christine. At least Christine's got a life that someone would want to live. Like, there's nothing... And that's the thing about, I don't know, I know I always hate calling myself a life coach because it sounds so flaky. And in the world of psychotherapy, it's so, ugh. There's a lot of snobbery in the therapy world, myself included, about coaches. And so a lot of people think that just because they've lived a life or they've had experiences that they can be a life coach. And it's like, nah. That's not what life coaching is. It's not about living a life. Like, you still have to have an understanding or a sense of, these are the things that work for people. This is not what works for people. That, these are the kinds of questions to ask. This is how you phrase it. This is how you have to frame these sessions. You have to think about things over here. It's a little more complicated than people think, but whatever. I don't know. But the one thing I thought was interesting, because I went on her website, which I think is a smart thing to do, is I can understand it's very frustrating. People inquire about my services all the time. And, you have conversations with people, and some people move forward, some people don't. But you do get some people that are like looky-loos, and you can feel it, like, just, and kind of almost wanting you to, maybe from this free consultation, get some help from you. And you have to be very careful about that, because you're like, I'm not giving this away. Like, this is hard stuff. So she's charging for these consultations, like $100. And I'm like, that is smart. If I was you, Janelle, that's a good move, because you're going to get a lot of looky-loos that want to talk to you. And it's like, make money from it, because you cannot go through all these people and do that. I mean, maybe Janelle's like, God damn it, I have got to get out from under Kody and Coyote Pass or away from these people. I mean, maybe she's like, this is my only choice job-wise.
Yeah, no, I think, she wants to get her estate back. She wants to get her share of the Coyote Pass property and, buy somebody out and do something. So yeah, she's just trying to make money.
Yeah. And I understand. And they're all in weird positions. I mean, this is what happens when you go on these reality shows, and is that you now once you're famous enough, it's like you're put in this weird position where she nor does she want to go get a job. She doesn't want to go get a regular job. Like, who cares? She doesn't want to do that. So she's not going to go do that, nor can she. It's like she becomes a novelty if she works somewhere. So I guess this is it. But
I think a lot of people can relate to Janelle. Obviously, I mean, I think she's pretty popular, and she probably is making a lot of money off of this. And both she and Christine are making money off that plexus. They're going cruises and vacations.
You know what though?
Qualify for.
I just saw this thing where someone was talking about Christine, and Christine made some she was posting about plexus, and she made some comments, and someone was saying, like, legally, Christine, you cannot say that this is for, she's claiming weight loss, like all of this stuff from plexus, which you really can't claim. So she's got a bit of a backlash from like the way in which she's wording some of her posts and the promises that she's making of what this plexus stuff can do for you.
Yeah, I've noticed lately that she's now starting to focus on menopause
That's it. That's what she talked about. Yeah.
How plexus can help with menopause.
That's it. And people were pissed.
Yeah, because you know what? Like real doctors are trying to, figure out how to help women in menopause and are struggling. There really is not a lot of relief out there. So I highly doubt that pink drink is the answer. Because if it was, I think someone would have discovered it a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was making a lot of promises how, it'll help with this, it'll help with this, it'll help with this. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah. So yes, it was about menopause now that I remember it. And someone I just saw I saw it posted somewhere else or someone else commented on it of like, what are you claiming here? You cannot claim this. It always makes me laugh, right? If menopause happened to men. Oh yeah. This would be solved by now.
It would have been solved years ago.
Yes. But because it happens to a woman, because we put up with so much shit.
Well, nobody ever tells you that about menopause, and now they do more. There's much more awareness about it now. But like for the longest time, nobody said, "Oh, this thing's going to happen to you when you reach a certain age," and literally your hormones and all this stuff is going to make you crazy. There's like this big secret, and it's shocking, when you start to experience it.
Well, I felt like I heard no one was talking about it. And then I remember Oprah started talking about it because Oprah was approaching menopause. So it's like, now we're all talking about it. Now Oprah's put it out there. So I remember her talking about it. And I think that people were talking about it more. But the problem that's so hard is that, it's hard to know, like, is this symptom something I need to change about my life or my diet or something, or is this a menopause symptom? Do you know what I mean? I keep waking up, and sometimes I'll take sleep medication because I just want to sleep through the night. But sometimes I'll wake up at 2:00 and I cannot sleep for 2 hours. And I'm like laying in bed listening to Steve. And I want to strangle him. And I can't go out. Like I can go to the bathroom, but if I move around too much, the dogs are like, "Oh, is the day started? Is the day started? Oh, good, you're up." So I'm laying there for hours. And then finally I pass out again at like 4:35. And then the alarm goes off at 7 and I'm exhausted. And I'm like, so is there something on my mind? Is there something I should be doing? Or is this the menopause?
No, something's waking you up, and it's something that's happening in your body. Because, before this, you could sleep like a rock through the night, it's like, no, something is wrong. Something is happening. And, I don't know. It's very complicated because everybody's different, and
everyone has different experiences. So, right. Because I remember 10 years ago hearing about from other women, and some people were telling me like I was depressed for 10 years it threw me into a tailspin and all of this. And then I'll hear from other women. They're like, I don't know, it's not bad. Like, and then it ended. So I think that's the other part of it too, is it's this giant mystery of it could be awful for you. It could be fine for you. It could be somewhere I think most people are somewhere in between. And there you go. Just figure it out, lady.
Yeah. Well, and also as if we have the time to, you it's mostly like celebrities and rich people talk about, oh, well, go to your doctor and get this sort of hormone panel done, which of course most doctors and insurance doesn't even cover. And you do this and you do that. And it's like, I don't have the time or the money to devote my life to try to figure out like exactly what is happening.
Yeah. Well, and what's so interesting about menopause is it happens at a time where most women, and you and I are going through this, where most women have kids at home or still supporting kids, and parents that are getting older. Yeah. Right.
Because you're always in a great mood. In that position. It's a great place to be.
Yeah. I mean, we are, what's the term? Sandwiched. I mean, we are definitely sandwiched. Like
we're sandwiching hard.
Oh, we are sandwiching. Oh my God. So hard. Before we podcast every time, we have to talk about the state of our parents. And like, what's going on with them? Who needs help? What's happening? Yeah. Have they fallen? Do they remember the day of the week? What is happening?
What's going on?
Yeah. So it's a lot. Anyway, that's for menopause corner.
Yeah. Yeah, Christine, do better.
Yeah. Well, and then Christine's really doing a lot of stuff with that Airbnb in Moab. You know, did you see she's posting a lot about that? I'm like, are you trying to get into this Airbnb thing? Like, please, that is such
what I thought was weird is she posted, she was basically hanging up on the walls as decorations, like these collages of old People magazine covers and stories about the Browns, like over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's odd. You know, you're putting a picture of your ex-husband and
well, you know what it is? It's sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's like either decide you're going to use your platform, decide you're going to do this Airbnb thing, or you're going to invest in properties and do that, and then give people this Moab experience.
Right.
Or go the opposite direction and say, this is kitschy. This is for Sister Wives fans, or this is for someone who wants a weird experience, and then really go the other direction. Random People magazines it's a little bit of, it's just weird. It's like, or make it a theme, make it a Sister Wives theme.
Yeah, maybe that's what she's going for. It's going to be Sister Wives theme Airbnb. Yeah.
So you go, and then, your husband marries another woman while you're there. and a couple other women show up, and you get a sense of what Christine's life was like.
You have to move around to like 3 different Airbnbs during the weekend. You can't just stay in one place. Like as soon as you get comfortable in one house, you got to move to the other house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
your husband has to run from house to house.
Yeah.
Like a maniac.
Yeah. And then you have to have a big family get together where you do all the work and, you make hot dogs
and then your husband makes out with the younger, prettier wife that they bring in.
Yeah.
And pays all of his attention to her.
Outside in the front yard.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the Sister Wives experience.
Sign me up.
All right. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And we are continuing to cover various documentaries. We've got lots of good stuff in the pipeline. I keep using pipeline,
but promising that. Don't overpromise.
Okay. All right.
Just stay tuned.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right. And follow us on Psych Legal Pop at Instagram and TikTok. And I think that's it. Tell a friend, spread the word. And thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.